What's up guys, Luke Deutschlander here with another video. If you guys like my videos, make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. In today's video, we're going to be talking about late night pickups, how to be careful, trust your gut, etc. And we're also going to be talking about giving your sellers a break. So we're going to jump right into today's video. This is what happened to me tonight. I went and picked up an iPhone XR. So it looks all good, looks real pretty, until you hold it under light. So we're going to turn the screen off, and I'm hoping you guys can see this, but if you can actually, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Anyways, if you can't see this, oh, there you go. It's a little bit hard because there is a lot of fingerprints on it, but this phone actually has a very slightly cracked screen. So I seen it right away. However, the seller did not see this. He got excited. He's a regular customer of mine. He picked up the phone. He got a pretty good deal on it, and he came to sell it to me, and he didn't even realize, because of all the fingerprints on the phone, he didn't realize that the phone actually had a very, very micro crack in the screen. On top of that, the phone was a little dinged up on the corners. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that. You might not be able to. Here's this corner right here. Maybe you can see that one a little bit better if the camera will focus on it. Maybe you guys can see that. I'm not really sure. But the point is, this phone basically was described to me as an A-grade phone. So obviously I gave him an A-grade price. And the phone shows up, and I would say this is probably B-grade with a cracked screen, or possibly even C-grade. So I'm not going to make probably any money on this phone. I'm probably going to actually break even. And I know everybody out there is probably wondering, why did you do that, Luke? And the reason being is, this guy is a regular customer of mine. He's a pretty good supplier. He brings me, phones, electronics, sometimes the occasional video game or video game system. And, I know him pretty well. And when something like this happens, you kind of got to make a judgment call. Do you want to give the guy a break, and do you want to send him home happy? Or do you want to send him home feeling defeated and feeling like, he let you down? So basically what happened is, after we met up, and I looked at the phone, I kind of brought the issues up to him. I slid my fingernail across the screen. By the way, if you're ever looking for a crack in a phone, a really good way to do that is basically just take the edge of your nail and just slide it back and forth across the screen, up, down. And if there is any cracks or chips, you're going to feel it. Your nail will pick that up. And I actually learned that from my father. Basically, when you're looking for a car scratch on a car, if your fingernail catches the crack, then basically you probably aren't going to be able to buff that out, and you're going to have to repaint that piece. But anyways, that trick works really well on phones. If you just take your finger and basically slide over it, you'll feel that. And when the seller gave me this phone, as you guys saw, there you go, you can see it. If we hold it at that angle, you can see there's fingerprints all over this phone. And he didn't see it, but when I took my nail and slid it across it, I found it right away. And then upon looking closer, then I could see it, and I showed it to him. Now, when I brought this up to him, man, he just had such defeat in his voice that, you got to make a judgment call. And so I said, normally I would probably deduct $100 to $150 for this, because one, it's my time, and then two, I need to obviously pay less so I can make money. So I told him that, and he said, I'm sorry, and I could hear the tone in his voice was completely legitimate. And like I said, I've dealt with this person before, here and there, here and there, here and there. And, I didn't want to send him home. He drove about an hour to come and deliver this to me later at night. And I didn't want to send him home feeling defeated, feeling like he failed, and also send him home basically losing money. Because in reality, this is just a cost of business. This happens. And to me, if I break even on this phone, this is worth more to me, or the relationship with him bringing me multiple items and, constantly meeting up with me and being normally a good seller. Me breaking even on this is worth a lot more than $100, which would possibly sever the relationship that we have. Just because, I might send him home defeated. He might not feel good, or he might, be angry. Maybe next time he sees me, maybe next time he'll try and rip me off, or maybe he just won't talk to me again, and maybe he'll find somebody else that'll buy his stuff that, would have gave him a break. So this is always something that you want to consider, which is giving your sellers a break. And like I said, you really got to value the relationships. Now, I've kind of applied this to all of my phone flipping relationships that I've had, as far as dealing with people, just because, like I said, people aren't perfect. We're the professionals in this industry. People out there, who are suppliers or, average consumers, they make mistakes, and that's why we're professionals. That's why we're there to catch the mistakes, etc. So, he didn't sell this to me, and I knew that it had a cracked screen. He didn't pull one over on me. He legitimately, from the tone in his voice, he just didn't know. He got excited, obviously. He picked this phone up for a good deal, got excited, and then, messaged me right away and said, hey, I got a phone. I'm going to come see you. I'm like, okay, awesome. What is it? He sends me the IMEI and everything. Because like he said, he's a regular customer, so I'm checking it out. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's this, it's that, 64 gig, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I said, is it in good shape? And he's like, yeah, it is in pretty good condition. And like I said, without looking at it under close light, it is in pretty good shape. And when I was in my truck, I've got really bright dome lights, and that's always what I do. I always turn the dome light on, and I look the phone over. So that's basically what I did, met up with him, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad. I feel bad for him. Like I said, I felt the sorrow in his tone, so I definitely wasn't going to, gouge him for $100 to $150. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. Maybe you guys could drop a comment down below. Would love to hear what everybody out there thinks. But I think, that this is one of the reasons why my phone flipping career is, really successful, because I know there's a lot of buyers out there that would have just took this guy to town and just said, yeah, man, $200 off. You brought me a crack screen. And I do talk about that in some of my videos, especially in my paid course. Like, sometimes you've got to stick it to people, but this guy was not sketchy at all. Like I said, I've met up with him many times before. He was not trying to defraud me. It was an honest mistake. And as you get more experience in this industry, you will be able to tell the difference between an honest mistake and somebody who tried to scam you. And this one was an honest mistake. So, I basically let it go. And, he told me thanks. He appreciated it and said he'll make up for it next time. So whether he gets something or he has to lose a little money, but, tonight it wasn't a good night for him, for him to take a hit or take a break. So I gave him the break. That being said, the next topic that I want to talk about in this video is meeting up with people late at night. This is a very heavily and highly debated talk in the phone flipping community. Some people out there say don't meet up at all late at night. I say do meet up, but there's a few tips and kind of guidelines that you got to go by, and I'm going to talk about them right now. So number one, don't trust anybody. And what I mean by that is don't get too comfortable. Don't put yourself in a vulnerable situation. When you go and meet up with somebody late at night, don't meet in a dimly lit parking lot. Don't meet in a dimly lit area or on a dead-end road or at the person's house, because there's people in the phone flipping community that have been robbed before because of the fact that they give somebody too much trust. And obviously you don't want to get robbed. You're not in business to get robbed and lose money. So, and it's not fun, and it's scary. I've personally never been robbed before, but there have been a few times where, my gut feeling told me this could go bad, and, all was fine. But it's not a good feeling because it's the unknown, and people don't like the unknown. It's kind of like walking through the dark. Even though nothing's going to get you, nobody really likes walking through the dark because it's the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, and that scares people, and you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So the other reason why you don't want to meet in a dimly lit parking lot is if somebody does have intentions to possibly rob you or defraud you. If you meet them in a dimly lit area, this is going to tell them, one, that you're probably not that smart, or two, you're just a really trusting individual and you're not very cautious about what you're doing. And that gives them the upper hand on you because they already are planning what they're going to do, and you're completely, blue to it, and you don't even know what's going on. So, and then it'll happen and it'll be too late. So I really can't stress this enough because I have seen people get robbed out there, and I do not want that to happen. Nothing saddens me more than seeing stories, or news clippings on the internet of, people getting robbed. I saw this one news article that, kind of makes me stutter almost, because it hurts. Because, I'm a big coach in the phone flipping industry. I've got the second largest paid phone flipping group on the internet. And, a guy who had a wife and 2 kids, he got shot over, I think it was like a $300 phone deal. It was like an iPhone 7. He got shot. And so it really makes you wonder, like, people put a price on a human's life of only $300. It's like a human's life's not worth more than that. So that is why you guys got to be careful. Don't be meeting people, at their house, especially not on a first meet. Don't be meeting them at their house late at night, unless you guys are like friends or something, or it's like a family member. You just got to be careful. Another thing that you can do late at night, just another guideline, is find a Perkins, find a Denny's, find something out there that, you know, is open 24/7, that's got cameras that you can kind of sit at like a back booth or, you know, a corner booth in the restaurant where everybody's going to see you. They're not, you know, they're not going to rob you. You know, a lot of times people get robbed because of the fact that, like I said in kind of the first guideline of meeting people late at night, is people make it too easy. They make themselves vulnerable. And then, you know, the person that's going to rob you kind of feels like they're in control. They feel like, oh, this guy, you know, he's not cautious at all. This is going to be, you know, easy. So if you don't ever put yourself in that vulnerable situation, you won't ever get robbed. If you guys don't have a Perkins or like a Denny's or like a 24/7 diner where you are, the next best bet is to meet inside a gas station. Now, the reason being is if you're inside a gas station, they all have silent alarms. So if you meet at a gas station, here's what you can do. You can get to the gas station a little bit early before your customer gets there. Go up to the gas station clerk and let them know, hey, I'm going to be buying a smartphone here. You don't have to tell them that you're a reseller or anything like that. Just tell them that you're going to be buying a smartphone from a gentleman or a lady, or, you know, maybe it's two people, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. You're buying it from somebody, and that you just want to let them know that if the deal goes south or that they pull anything sketchy, you're going to yell help or you're going to yell phone. Just give them a key term and let them know about that. And let them know to sound the silent alarm. Most gas stations have silent alarms. Now, I don't know why people don't bring up gas stations, or other coaches really don't mention this, but pretty much every gas station, at least in my town, has a silent alarm. So if you approach the clerk before you get to the gas station or before the customer gets to the gas station, you're going to have a really, really good chance if something does, you know, go south, that one, you're going to be safe, and then two, you're going to get your money back or your phone back, and it may even freak out the robber. They may drop your phone, or they may stop what they're doing and, you know, just run away, whatever. But, you know, number one, you'll be safe, and then two, you might even, you know, keep your money and the phone or whatever. So that's obviously, you know, major factor. And then the third guideline is honestly just trust your gut. This kind of comes from experience. You'll kind of know eventually, you know, as you get into this business, you'll just know that you shouldn't be doing this deal or you should be doing that one. And if it doesn't feel right, or the person is just saying really sketchy things, then that's when it's time to back out. You got to get out of there, or just, you know, tell the person, we'll meet tomorrow. We'll meet in the daylight. Or, you know, we'll meet tomorrow, and then don't tell them this, but bring a friend with you. Bring a family member with you. Play the buddy system. There's power in numbers. But just be really careful out there, because, you know, I've had a couple sketchy deals that basically, I mean, I was a little nervous, and I'm a confident person. I don't really get nervous, but I had somebody FaceTime me around midnight one night with around 40 sealed iPhone XS Max 512 gigabytes. And this is when they rate, you know, basically, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 weeks after they came out. So they were fresh, you know, they were worth a lot of money. I mean, that would have been $40,000 to do in one deal. And, you know, he wanted me to drive to him and go meet him at a hotel room. Now, you know, I debated doing it only because of the fact that he FaceTimed and the phones were actually there. But at the same time, it was just too sketchy. You know, you never know. I mean, that's just so much money at that time of night, and I couldn't find anybody who wanted to go with me. And the other thing that kind of sketched me out a little bit is it wasn't just him. There was like 3 other of his friends there too. So that kind of sketched me out. You know, and he was pretty demanding and stuff. I mean, I get it. Maybe he thinks he's a big deal because he's got 40 phones. I mean, that's cool, you know. I mean, I've dealt with people like that before, and they're totally nice. So I don't know. It just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so I didn't end up going that night, but I did end up meeting with the individual the next day. It was either the next day or the next day, but I met them during the day. Everything went fine. However, if I would have met that night, you know, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, maybe things would have been different. So I also think that sometimes, you know, things go bad during the nighttime. That's why there's a lot of crime at night. So sometimes people make stupid decisions late at night. A lot of people have been drinking, etc. You never know. So it's just best that if you are going to meet at night, go for it, but be safe. Be safe, follow these guidelines, and I don't think you will have any problems. So it's just kind of some stuff to remember. So that being said, I hope all of you enjoyed this video. I hope you got some value from it. Hope it makes you think twice about some stuff, and I hope you learned some things, especially the whole giving your regular seller or supplier, you know, basically some leniency, or giving them a break if they make a mistake, because we're the professionals. You know, just imagine if, you know, you hadn't watched all these YouTube videos, or maybe you're in my paid phone flipping course. There's tons of knowledge in there. It's just imagine if you didn't have any of these tools, how many mistakes you would be making, especially when you get overly excited or it's one of your first deals, or, you don't get stuff on the regular, like a nice phone like this. Like, this is actually a pretty nice phone. Yeah, it's an XR. I know there's a lot of debate out there about, that the XR is kind of pointless, but I think it's kind of a pretty phone, at least cosmetically. So that being said, maybe he was just excited and he made a mistake, but it happens. So anyways, make sure you just kind of go over these guidelines, follow them if you're going to meet up late at night, keep it in mind, think twice, and make sure to give your sellers a break, because, breaking even on a phone is a lot better than, making 100 profit and then losing the relationship forever and never getting any more, items or smartphones from, the seller that brings you these, because you sent him home kind of feeling defeated and, basically broke. Or that, he did a terrible job, or he or she or whoever it is. So anyhow, drop your comments below. Would love to hear your feedback about all this. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.